Brodes Media.
Before we get started to talk all about the current state of the birds, let me tell you something about my friends over at DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, ladies and gentlemen, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. So take a look at the Birds. Take a look at the Vikings. The matchup on Sunday, Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, over under A.J. Brown receiving yards. Same applies to Saquon in the rushing yard department. There's so many opportunities for you. Thursday night football, the Saturday college football slate, MLB playoffs. Oh, baby! There's so much available. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRODES. That's code BRODES to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial uses excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. This is a limited time offer. Yo, what's up? Today we are doing a wellness check on the Eagles. What's a wellness check, you ask, Brodes? A proactive medical examination aimed at assessing and maintaining an individual's overall health and well-being. It typically involves medical history reviews, physical exams, health risk assessments, counseling. Wellness checks can be performed by a primary care physician, a nurse practitioner, or other healthcare professionals. Well, damn it, I'm a healthcare professional today. Oh. What sucks is your healthcare provider, me, I'm in shambles. I'm normally Mr. Jalen. I'm normally Mr. Man. They always find ways to win. And wow, I love the organization. But when it's bad, I keep the same energy. I'm just on the other side. And when something smells funky, I don't run away from it. I realize there's reasons why it smells funky. And you can give me all the data about how they once really did perform after getting hit with a bunch of adversity 1 year ago. But then I ask the question, this group, these men, these personalities, are they willing to do the same things for one another that they did a calendar year ago? Or is there something stopping them? The relationships aren't the same. The buy-in's not the same. They already reached the mountaintop. We already heard A.J. Brown got to the mountaintop and it didn't really do much for him. So is that desire and hunger even there anymore? Because if it's all about winning and it's all about being a Super Bowl champion again, if you get there and you realize, I don't know, it's just not what I anticipated, then maybe you don't have that same fight to return. So are you willing to go through the same steps and the proper protocol to get back on the right path? I don't know. That's why it's not the same, even though it's very similar faces in the NovaCare complex. They're farther along in their respected journeys. Saquon coming over from the Giants. That was a huge momentum shift. That was a big focus. Maybe the belief isn't in there. I don't believe in the offensive line the same way. I don't believe in the defense the same way. I don't believe in some of the youth that Howie Roseman doubled down on with Ringo instead of Isaiah Rodgers. And I don't believe in Jalix Hunt the way I believed in Josh Sweat. And I don't believe in Ajomo the way I believed in Milton Williams. And if there are current people and voices in the locker room that feel that way, then it's going to stop them to do the right things and do the things that they were willing to do last season because they don't think it's worth it, because they don't see the prize being there. And when they got the prize, it didn't move them. Didn't matter to A.J. Brown. It didn't impact them. I don't know. I don't know. I guess let's start here. Zidarius Smith retires. Now, I want to be very clear. If this is something extremely personal, then I send my best wishes to him and his family, my love, my support, all the positivity in the world to him, his family, his loved ones, the whole thing. If this is something real life and this is something super, super serious, then by no means what I'm about to say from a football aspect, it doesn't apply anymore, okay? But all I can do is base it off of a football standpoint because I know this team is broken. I see it on the field. I understand it. You don't just irrationally quit if things are going extremely well. Because I remember the day he stepped into Philadelphia. He's going, oh my God, I got friends that are teammates here now. They tell me about how great this organization is. They got guys like Big Dom. This is a winning culture. They just won a Super Bowl. I can't wait to be here and I'm excited. And I'll take it a step further. He said this to Dave Zangaro.
You're always planning on playing this season, or was that a consideration?
Oh, no, I was playing for sure. Yeah. I'm not hanging it up yet. I see where you was going with that. But nah, man, I got a lot more left in the tank. I played football. I started my senior year in high school. So it's like I'm still young in the game, man. So, yeah, I got a lot more left. Don't put that one on me.
So that was September 10th. He retired October 13th. 1 month later from a statement like that. And again, if his body's taking a toll, if he realizes he just doesn't have that same desire anymore, then by all means, I respect the decision. I'm just saying, I feel if they were 5-1, if Jalen and Kevin Patullo and guys were in their bag and they were steamrolling and they were looking crisp and they were looking clean, I don't know. Does he walk away from the game, or is it ugly as hell with everyone that he goes, dude, I mean, I wanted to go somewhere where I had a chance. I wanted to go somewhere where it was fun, where it was clicking, when we were grooving. I wanted to go to an organization that had their head straight and screwed on. But this is the complete opposite. This isn't worth it for me. I'm just going to step away. And it's hard for me to not feel like there's a correlation with the nonsense, the noise, the drama, the A.J. Brown stuff, the Jalen Hurts stuff. I think it's rough. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And he just walked in on Monday and said, peace. And I mean, I haven't even gotten to what does this mean from an on-field level. This team can't generate a sack to save its life. He was one of your most productive guys, him and Ojulari, who was a healthy scratch for the first handful of games this season. Now what do? And everyone's pointing the finger at Nolan Smith returning. Here's a news flash for you. When he does return, what do you think? He's just going to be perfectly in shape and ready to rock and not skip a beat and be a double-digit sack type of guy? He's coming off of a pretty major injury, where he already had a pretty major injury at the end of last season and had to rehab it and go through that whole thing before even getting there for this year. And before the season even kind of kicked off here, he had to hit an IR stint. So who's to say he's going to be efficient and effective is my point. So who is? Patrick Johnson? And then the next question becomes, is it worth investing in this team? Howie Roseman went out and spent all these draft picks on the Mechis of the world, the Bigsbys of the world, and all kinds of guys like that, right? If you can get a Trey Hendrickson, I'm not going to tell you no. But I'm not trying to put Band-Aids on this fully. If it's a panic move without full digestion of what's happening here. Now, I trust Howie. If you get someone super special and there's a window, and it's not just this year, but you can maximize their greatness for a handful of years, and it can help replenish some pass rush, and, we're talking accidentally sleepwalking into double-digit sacks type of production, then of course I'm thinking more than just putting a Band-Aid on this year, and I'm thinking about what does this mean for this year, next year, the following year, and having a staple on the D-line, which you desperately need, and you got to find a way to get it. So it's obviously a case-by-case situation, but I don't know. I mean, you also can't just stand here, and get ran over by a Giants team. But also Jalen Carter being in the middle of the defense changes your personality defensively by a long shot. So it's a very weird and strange place to be if you're Howie. But there's no doubt about it. Every single decision he went for this season has basically backfired. I like Andrew Makuba, but I do think that his raw moments are too much and too raw. I knew there'd be growing pains, and I wasn't going to expect him to be Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean right from the rip, because that's a crazy standard. But I do think his ugly reps are really ugly, and they're way more there. They're happening more often than I would like to admit. Your defensive line, the Milton Williams, the Josh Sweat stuff, that really burned you. There's a lot there. I mean, the offensive line stuff has burned you. I mean, Cam Jurgens, he had an injury, didn't he, over the offseason surgery, with the back, and Landon Dickerson with the injuries. And, you can't really account for a practice injury with the meniscus that happened with Landon Dickerson. And you can't really account for Jordan Mailata maybe just to be not as sharp as you need him to be, and maybe same applies to Lane Johnson, but it seems like a lot of the calculations were completely off, and the numbers that were crunched were just not correct. And the levers that were pulled, if you're Howie, was off base by a large margin. You can't go into the year with Ringo. I mean, Ringo is a flat-out embarrassment to the sport. And I had to listen to Vic Fangio say today that he doesn't know if we're even going to have Q for Minnesota. Let me tell you something. Carson Wentz, Justin Jefferson, these guys are going to legitimately pants Adoree Jackson and Ringo if those two have to play. It got to the point where they're asking about, not Zach McPherson, who's the other kid that they're kind of trying to bounce around in between the slot and the outside? Mick something. Name's escaping me. But that's where we're at. I mean, we're that desperate where we're talking about that to Vic Fangio. I wish I could talk to Vic Fangio about Amelio cigars, because he'd say, Brodes, how the hell do you know about Amelio cigars? They're the best cigars ever. And I'd say, I know. It's because I know my cigars. You should smoke them. How about that for a live read? Old school roots, new school attitude, locally owned, third generation, made in Fabrica, Oveja Negra in Nicaragua. All jokes aside here, right? Having fun with you. But when I tell you, I go outside and I light one of these puppies up and it's the happiest I've ever been, it really is the truth. And I've tried other cigars previously, prior to even figuring out what Amelio Cigars was all about. But the second my lips landed on one of these puppies, it was all she wrote. It's like when I saw my wife for the first time, when I saw the Philadelphia Eagles play for the first time, when I saw my daughter, both daughters, for the first time, when my eyes laid eyes on their eyes, I said, oh my God, I'm in love. And it's just a feeling that you can't express. When I tell you that's how I feel about my Amelio cigars, and you have to join me, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. What if I told you you can get 10% off your purchase by going to their website down below? There's so many options for you when you click the link down below in the description. and you get Brodes 10 at checkout. That promo code, 10% off. It's a no-brainer. Make sure you join the Amelio Cigar family today. Talk about a professional read. Am I right? What's not professional is this football team. They don't look to me like a team. They don't. They don't look like a team. And you can hit me with this. Brodes, Buffalo, they're 0-2 in their last two. Josh Allen looked a little rough. They didn't do good things against Atlanta. They're averaging about, 17 points per game maybe in the last couple of losses. It's not just them. You're right. See, I have been dying on the Jalen Hurts hill, rightfully so, for a bit now. I think Jalen is playing bad, but he's a good quarterback playing bad. Good quarterbacks play bad. Josh Allen is a really good quarterback. You know what's funny? Everyone keeps pointing out Baker, right? And they're like, wow, look at Baker. Look what Baker's doing. Baker could do this and that. Jalen can't do this and that. And Baker's been getting ripped from people for the last 7 years. He stinks, overrated, this, that. Now he's having a good year. And credit to him, he clearly rejuvenated his entire career in Tampa Bay. And I'm rooting for the kid. It's hard not to love his story. Guy's just an animal. I could see why a locker room really resonates with the way that he attacks the sport. I think he's an awesome watch. I love it. And I'm not saying this in a negative way towards him. I'm more just applying it to fans who are using him now as the standard and the bar. Jalen's got to do what he does. Jalen, look at that. Baker Mayfield is playing like a top 3 MVP. Look at the race for the MVP. Baker. Well, Baker is good, but he's had some rough years. Baker is good, and he's had some really uncomfortable spots. And if you say, well, Brodes, he was in Carolina. Who can succeed with that staff? And blah, 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 blah. They have incompetent people. Well, I think Kevin Patullo's incompetent. I think Kevin Patullo is incompetent. And I think it starts there on why things are getting held back. I believe that. Players need to execute better. And I heard WIP today, they opened the afternoon show with asking, is it more on players or coaches? I think it's both. I think when it's this bad, everybody deserves blame. But I think if you clean up the fundamental issues from a coaching standpoint schematically, then the other things organically start to improve as well. And that's where it begins for me. Lane Johnson feels the same exact way. How do I know that? Well, this was Lane Johnson after the game against Denver.
Not the result you want tonight. Where do you feel like it slipped away?
Yeah, we're not very efficient offensively. We have times where we have big explosive plays, but not able to capitalize and put it in the end zone. Costly mistakes. I feel like our run game isn't very efficient right now. We're making it very hard on all phases for us.
Why is that?
I think when you look at it, maybe we're too predictable. Maybe, I think when you look at some of the stuff we did last year, the production isn't matching the talent. So, collectively we got to come together and do better. And so, obviously what we've been doing the first few weeks hasn't been working. And, even the games that we won, it hasn't been as efficient, as we like.
You can see.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. I think, like I said, the talent we have, and the production isn't matching. So it's frustrating. I felt like we've had a great week of practice, but, a lot of football games are won by adjustments, at halftime, in between series, and obviously we're not doing a good job at that.
So the adjustments, did I say Denver? I think that was after the Giants game. I don't know. My brain's all tangled when it comes to thinking about this football squad. But yeah, I mean, he literally said that we're way too predictable, number one, and he's one of 75,000 people publicly mentioning that the design is just elementary and it's not acceptable from a National Football League standpoint. And also with the not making adjustments thing, I think that's huge. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what Kevin Patullo said today during his press conference. So this was, and I know I'm most likely being too technical, and maybe not too technical, but too literal when picking apart this statement and comment made from Kevin Patullo. But he was asked about Lane Johnson's comments and the idea of the offense being predictable. Take a listen here.
I think the comment Lane had, and what's great about the players is the communication with all of us is constant, right? Whether it's during game, whether it's during the week, even on days off, things like that. So that's been really, really good and productive for us. And I think a lot of it comes down to is, and I know Nick alluded to this too, is sometimes situational moments in the game where you're limited a little bit depending on where you're at, field position, down distance, select plays, what the defense does at times. If they're a big edge pressure team, during certain situations that can dictate a little bit what you want to do. So I think when you talk about the situational stuff and or the predictability, you just got to look at kind of where the whole context is. And I think that's what kind of the last day or so, over the weekend things, we were able to kind of look at where we were, where we are, where we want to go, what we know, we need to kind of do to go forward. And I think it was very productive. We had a good meeting yesterday as an offensive unit, and so I think we're in a good spot working forward.
All right, so that last part really stands out to me, and it could just be coach speak, it could just be blah, 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 but Kevin Patullo said they had a very productive meeting as an offense, and they feel good about where it's going. Oh, okay. Then I better fucking see greatness. Then when we see Minnesota, I better see a fucking offense that is humming. That at least, because I know it doesn't go 0 to 100 right away, although with this group, it seems like one half is and the other half isn't. So who knows? Maybe it is as simple as snapping the fingers or flipping on the switch or whatever you want to use to describe it. But here's the point. If you feel you got together and you feel great about the meeting and you think this is all well and dandy, then I better see actual results. Because if you think it's so great behind the scenes and then you go out there and you're actually blowing chunks, then what are you doing? Then do you have the answers? Are you spending quality time on the right thing? Because you think it was good. You walk away from the meeting so much so that on Tuesday you tell the media about how great it is and how strong you feel about the communication that happened. Then I better actually see the results. So am I being too literal on that backstretch of the statement? I don't think so. You went out and said it. I'm just here ready to hold you accountable. And somebody who is slipping by here without as much criticism as they deserve is the head coach. It's Nick Sirianni. Like, you got to pull this thing back together. You got to get this on the right track. You got to get this team's head out of its ass, one way or another. Schematically, relationships, togetherness, you name it. You are the head coach of the football team who apparently knocks it out of the park in that respect. You lead men to be one. Well, let's be one then, because right now they're not. They're not a team. You can't sugarcoat this. You are not a team. You are a bunch of individuals right now. And the way Sirianni has expressed it in the past, it's not about having the most talent. Of course, you need talent. But it really is about pulling in the same direction and having that type of fire and that commitment to one another. And how much of this is AJ just being a pain in the rear end? And how much of this is Jalen and them two just together not being able to work through whatever relationship problems they have as former best friends or acquaintances now or however it is? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe AJ's just so fed up and I just don't care anymore to be here. I don't care anymore to pour everything out there for this group. Crazy. What's crazy is how much I love my cannabis over at Camden Apothecary. I couldn't imagine, being this in love with my cannabis, but oh my God, I am. Phillies fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there, but when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. And they are only 5 minutes over the bridge. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. Tell them Brodes sent you for 10% off. It's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. It's a no-brainer. I want to see here if I hit on everything I mentioned. Something that I'm just kind of over is the, hey, we should see if Brandon Graham wants to come back storyline. I don't see how that benefits anybody. I'm sorry. At some point, you just got to chalk it up to, this is where we are. The Brandon Graham thing was the Brandon Graham thing. It ran its course. It's over. Because this is what you don't want to happen. And truth be told, there's a higher percentage of this happening. And that is, he comes back to try and save everything. It goes really bad. And then the taste in her mouth of Brandon Graham. Now, one, I think it's unfair to him. Now, if he's had this in the back of his mind and sort of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out behind the scenes with the organization anyway, and always sort of had Howie on speed dial just in case he had that itch again, and it was all sort of aligning for it to be inevitable to play again at some point, then it's a totally different story, but I never really caught that vibe. I don't think it's right for both parties. It's a crazy, insane desperation move. And while I believe Brandon Graham would love to do anything in his power to get this back on track, it's such a small percentage. To think that this team's going to be saved because of an old, half-ass retired version of Brandon Graham with very limited pass rush as a whole. I was listening to Dave Zangaro say this. He said, you would think that with Nolan Smith and with Zidarius Smith and with guys like that, if you can have BG join that crew, it would make more sense. But if you were looking for an added layer with your guys extremely healthy because you weren't really as sensational as you would like to be with the pass rush, then adding BG to the group, okay. Adding BG to save the group, that's a completely different task. And if it's a 0.2% hit rate for it to really change the dynamic of your franchise as a whole, then is it worth it? And speaking of Brandon Graham, though, I do feel one thing that they may be lacking, and this is no knock on Jalen, this is no knock on Lane, this is no knock on Mailata, this is no knock on Vic Fangio, this is no knock on a lot of these guys, but there is a different world, or excuse me, I guess it is a different world when you have leaders like Brandon Graham, when you have leaders of that caliber that are no longer there. That's a big void to fill. Forget what he was doing on the field, what happens off the field. And part of the reason why last year was as crazy as it was is you had him drive a crazy Brandon Graham's a very smart man. What Brandon Graham said when he went on WIP that day, that was very methodical. You don't accidentally say that. And I'm not telling you that's the most perfect route in the world, but it worked. And when things were getting really, 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 really bad, here's a respected veteran that goes out of the norm, says certain things, aired out dirty laundry. Not that I like that. I'm not telling you I like that button to be pushed. But my point is, the result was the result. They figured it out. Do they have that same guy capable of taking such a calculated risk to make it happen to fix these issues? They don't have that guy anymore. They don't. And I know a few days ago, maybe it was a couple weeks at this point. Here it is. Someone actually tweeted out, this is Mostly Eagles Twitter account, Brandon Graham, during that time, AJ, Jalen, it was a year ago. And we're almost in the same predicament, but we have one less leader. And this was the leader that made it happen. Now, maybe we could put pressure on Jalen to step up and be that, but it might be hard because he's in this beef compared to somebody on the outside stepping in to try and fix things. It's a different way of going about this, but this was a year ago.
The person that's complaining need to be accountable. And I'm
AJ.
just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he know this. He, you know, I don't know the whole story, but I know that one is trying. And I mean, 11 could be a little better with how he respond to things. And they was friends before this. It's like, man, but things have changed, and I understand that because life happens. But we gotta, it's the business side that we have to make sure that we don't let the personal get in the way of the business, and that's what we gotta do better as right now, because we know it's an issue. Everybody's seeing some things, but we need to be able to talk things out as men. You know what I'm saying? But we need to let personal stuff go and let's get right for this game, because, man, it's like a lot of stuff, most of the time it's just a conversation that just need to be had, but the person with the problem gotta want to talk to the person other than others. Okay. That's all I'm saying. The person.
Now, I've heard something similar about AJ just being unwilling. I've heard something similar. And remember, that was from previous, but you don't have BG in there anymore to play mediator, if that's the right word, right? You got the mediator. I don't know. That meteor? No, that's like a big asteroid. No, dude, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. But it kind of just puts it in perspective on what they were dealing with. Crazy and absurd that they were even able to overcome it. But something like that doesn't just go away, right? When you're best friends and then you say, man, they were best friends before this, man. And you got to bring it back to being professional and finding ways for the team and forget the personal stuff, put it to the side. I don't think they can anymore. And they definitely don't have people driving that home inside. And if they do, they're missing the mark. And that's part of the coaching's job, especially when you're a CEO, is to manage these personalities and manage these relationships. And I'm not saying it's easy, because it definitely isn't easy, but it's part of what you get paid to do. As I get a DM on Twitter here, I hope it's not some porn bot. I got to tell you what, I have been, yeah, it is, from Sasha. Hello, you. What's going on lately, man? Mila hit me up 4 times. Mind if I tell you something? Do I intimidate you? Oh, my God. Maddie, hi there. It's just, another Sasha. I knew there was another Sasha. Hey, Hunter. No one calls me that. All good? Do you remember me? Do I intimidate? You're asking me if I intimidate you, if you intimidate me too? All right, so this is how you know the show is done. This is how you know the show's over. I'm reading bot DMs. Okay? Well, with that, that's where I stand today. That was my wellness check. How'd I do? We talked football, ended with porn bots. One hell of a wellness check. You guys are the best. I love you. I'll catch you on the next one.